Yeah, it was awesome. Put the tape on and watch our guys play so hard and effective and efficient. And I think it was just kind of one of those games where it was kind of clicking for us and not for the other guys. And but really proud of how our guys, like I said, prepared all week and on a short week, and then came to play. I can't say enough about the environment. I think you guys know that as well. But that was really fun to be part of that whole thing, and how that stadium really changes when everybody's there, and it's that electric. And that was neat to be part of. And so, with that being said, let's answer questions.
8 sacks obviously get a lot of attention. They jump out of the stat sheet, but 0 sacks on the other side.
Yeah.
Early this season.
Yeah.
That had to feel pretty
Well, I think when, probably those stats like that, they can kind of be a little bit misleading in terms of sometimes things just start to happen and they snowball, and, you get a couple extra ones and stuff. But we were really pleased with how hard and how effective our lines played, without question. I mean, they protected Jake well and were able to run the ball, and then on the other side, really squeeze the pocket and not let Stanford hang on to it. And so I think anytime, your lines play at a real high level, you got a good chance to win.
On McCaffrey, now that it's in the past, can you talk about kind of what your game plan was in slowing him down? And then did you want to kick to him on kickoffs, or would you rather have Tristan send those into the end zone?
Well, you could see we were trying to move the ball around. And then the one time we kicked it right in the middle of the field, that's never the plan. Nobody in college football is trying to kick the ball right down the middle. So when you see that, that's a screw up by the kicker. And so, because if you kick to a guy like that, and these returners we have in this league enough, they're gonna eventually get something. And then as far as the game plan, let's get off blocks is what it is. I mean, you can't do anything. Any one running back and say, okay, guys, this guy's really, really good, which happens every single week in this league. So it really just comes down to, trying to defeat blocks and run to the ball and not try to put it on any one guy and restrict running lanes. I mean, that's really what it is. There's no real special answer where we had this, game plan concocted that, it's going to stop number 5. I mean, and you could see when he gets the ball in space how hard he is to tackle. And so I think one of the things is guys were getting off blocks and taking a lot of the space away before he could really get started, because a couple times he was just an eyelash away from going. But they rallied to the ball good and slowed him down.
Chris, going back to those sacks, when you put the tape on, how much of it was guys just beating their man, or how much of it was the back end denying the quarterback the first and second reads and the guys taking advantage of that extra time?
Yeah, I think it's always a combination of those type of things. I mean, if the coverage is fairly tight, then quarterback needs to see it just a little bit longer, and then when the pocket starts to constrict, it can get hard on them. So, I think the guys were pushing the pocket real well, but for the most part, the coverage was pretty tight as well.
It seems like both Solomon and Joe, their play has continued to ramp up and get better and better and better. What's kind of helped them?
Yeah, I just think they've both been, they're both hard workers. It's really good to see Solomon kind of come out of, I don't want to say nowhere, but he's been here a long time. He's a 5th-year guy, and he plays with a high motor, and he gives great effort, and he's made plays, but certainly to have it all come together in a game like that was really good for him.
Have you been, I don't know, surprised or whatever that you've been able to get the pressure you have without blitzing really hardly at all through these first 5 games?
Yeah. I think you just kind of look at it game by game, and as the game goes, what the strategies are on the other side, and do we need to bring more pressure, or are we getting there without it? And so, the rush has been pretty, pretty good without a bunch of pressure. But we don't have problems bringing a bunch of pressure too, if that's what we need to do. I think it's all about mixing it up.
Pete, it feels like the players have done a pretty good job in the last couple months of blocking out the noise, as they say, or controlling the outside hype. Have you found yourself even having to be conscious of that even more so?
Yeah, I think, we don't talk about those things. We're kind of burying our head in the sand. And I think they have done a good job of just paying attention to what's important and practicing hard and all those type of things. But I do think it's important that we pay attention to it as coaches and, talk about those things, because it can be distracting. There's no question about it. It's distracting to me to have to sit here and talk to you. So, sorry.
You look at me.
I didn't mean just you, Softy.
The idea, though, of coming off an emotional high like Friday,
Yeah.
and having to rally again,
Yeah.
is that a real thing?
Yeah, I think it is. I say that all the time. I mean, it seems like it shouldn't be, but like to play at that level with that focus and then, turn around quickly and prepare again and have to play at that level again and, in a different environment. I know it seems like it shouldn't be that hard, but it really is. And so that's always a concern. I think it's hard on Stanford. I mean, Stanford had to play SC and UCLA and then come to us. I mean, that's hard to do that back to back, and that's what I keep talking about this league. I mean, I think the coaches all get it, and it's our job to make sure the players understand it. And if you don't play at a really high level, anybody can beat anybody in this league without question.
The extra day off, though, does that benefit you guys, you think?
No. I mean, we just have to make that up to recover a little bit. We just gave those guys and the coaches, the day off to recover, and then we're back on a normal schedule. Yeah, I mean, we really need to recover. You get home so late from playing Arizona with no day off, and so, now we're kind of back on a normal schedule.
So what did you do on Saturday?
Recovered. Did recruiting.
Watch the games or?
A little bit. Yeah, we had some recruiting going on and those type of things.
You watched the Wazoo game live?
No, I was at a game. Yeah.
From the Ducks?
Yeah, I mean, I think this. I think everybody always overinflates everything on both ways. That's what I think. And, I think that they played some hard-fought games, that they, had chances to win down at the end, and for whatever reason just didn't do it. And that, that can affect momentum one way or another. And I think they played Washington State, who's a hard team to play, really well in the fourth quarter. It got away a little bit. But that's what I think. I mean, I think we got a huge, huge challenge in front of us, is what I really, really think.
Do you think their defense is fundamentally different in how Coach Hoke has put them together compared to maybe what you'd seen with Coach Pelham or some of the other coaches?
It's completely different. It's a four-man front for the most part. I mean, everybody does a little bit of everything. And so in the past, they were certainly a three-man front. So it's, structurally a lot different than it was last year. Yeah, and so it's all a little bit different. But it's stuff, I mean, we've seen it all. And all this stuff is good stuff, I mean, it really is. And then it just comes down to executing on both sides, I mean, that's what it's all about.
You've seen it. Are there teams that you played already that kind of emulate?
Like our defense. We've seen it all. I mean, our defense is multiple and does a lot of different things, and so we've seen it from them. We've seen they don't sit in one thing. They bring a variety of blitzes. They're a high-pressure team. They bring a variety of blitzes. They play two high safety. They play single high safety. They play man. The corners are good, can cover. So, I mean, 5 games into the season, there's usually not a whole lot that's like, well, we haven't ever seen this before.
How is Freeman kind of unique or different than backs you've seen so far?
Yeah. What is he, 230 pounds? Playing in a spread and can run away from you. He's as good as there is in the country. without question. And I mean, he backs it up every week. If he plays, he didn't play, a week ago or whatever. When he plays, he's hard to tackle. I mean, we felt that last year. He's hard to tackle. And then he puts it on tape every week. He's good.
Darryl this morning mentioned, it was very complimentary about Washington's game against Stanford, and he was particularly impressed with the fact that you guys handled well defensively the multiple formations that Stanford runs. They have a jumbo package, and they can spread, and they can do all that. What was the key to keeping that offense under control?
Well, I think it started with getting lined up correctly. Is simple as that sounds, but when you do have a multiple formation team and unbalanced formations and all that, there's a lot of communication to get everybody lined up quickly. And one of the other things that's hard about that playing at home is it's usually so loud that it's hard to communicate those things. And I thought our guys did a really good job of bumping our front over when it was unbalanced and getting lined up correctly and being able to communicate the coverages with not really being able to hear. I think that was first and foremost. And then when you get lined up correctly and you can get set, then away you go.
Is there somebody on the field who is in charge of making sure that everything is communicated properly?
Well, there's multiple guys. It's not any one guy. It's, who would see it, whether it's a corner, to a defensive end, to our D tackles. They can see if it's a short edge or a long edge or those type of things. So once somebody sees it, it gets passed down to everybody and get lined up.
Obviously make an effort to block out the noise, but of the noise you have heard since you got here, maybe from fans or boosters or whatever, what percentages beat Oregon compared to everything else?
Yeah, you hear that a lot, and so we get it. We know it's important, but all these games are important. I mean, I want our guys just do what they've been doing, which is preparing hard and staying focused on the right things, and showing up on Saturday with great energy and playing as a team. I mean, you can't tell them to, okay, now we're going to prepare really hard. I mean, it's ludicrous, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, these guys have been given everything they can possibly give, and so we just need to stick to that and stay focused and, not pay attention to, all the stuff that doesn't really matter.
In regard to that, though, isn't there a certain part of the outside noise that needs to be, I guess, embraced a little bit in order to keep this going at the level that you want it to when it comes to, say, recruiting or just getting attention about the program? Oh, yeah.
I think you segment this into things. I mean, it's great for college football and for our fans and recruiting and all those things. None of that stuff helps our team one bit, not even slightly, unless it makes sure our stadium's full. That helps a lot. But nothing other than that helps us.
Do you make mention of the streak, unfortunately, that's continues now, or do you just not even bring it up?
I don't know why I do that. No.
What about the environment? A lot of guys, you've been a veteran of the conference, you've kind of known how the stadium could be, but maybe some of those guys hadn't experienced Husky Stadium exactly to that fervor. Did you get any feedback, in the aftermath saying, wow, I had no idea that it could get like that, or was there any anecdote or something that you found interesting?
Well, I don't think any of the guys have ever felt it like that. Yeah, I don't think there's a guy on the team that's ever been in that stadium when it was that loud and that energetic. I don't know if there's any coaches. Akaika maybe. He played back when. But that was really good. And like I said, I mean, I can't talk about that enough, because that was different, and that was fun, and that was unique. All those things for sure.
No player interviews this week. What's the reason behind that?
Do I really need to talk about that? You guys want enough to talk about and write about? I mean, that's what it is. They got a lot on their plate going on. We got practice and school, and I figured you guys got enough to write about without having to talk to those guys. So, I mean, it's just, they've been talking about themselves for a long time now. I figure it's probably time for them to not talk about themselves for a little bit and Gonna go a different direction. Has nothing to do with the opponent. Has to do with us. It always has to do with us. It's never about the opponent. Yeah.
Going to be that way for the rest of the season?
You know, I think we just play those things week by week. You know, it's like, what do we need to do as a team? What helps us as a team? And I mean, these guys are scrambling around and getting their school going and all those type of things. And we're meeting with them this morning on academics and all those type of things. And it's just, there's a lot going on. And you guys were wonderful, but one thing they don't need this week is probably you guys. So. What else?
You done? All right.
That was easy.